Hello, fellow introverts, and welcome back to the Introverts Haven. My name is Megan, and welcome back to my library. So it is now officially May, somehow. The month of April just flew by, and in that process, I was able to read a few books. And by a few, I don't mean 15, like a lot of other booktubers do. I wish that I had the time. I'm secretly living vicariously through other people who can do that, but unfortunately, I do have to work full-time. I know, bummer, like the rest of the world. I do also have to clean my house and go to the gym, and I'm currently learning a brand new job on top of my full-time job in a totally different industry, and I have to do that on top of my full-time job because I am going to be working both for a while. I was unfortunately only able to read about 5 books. It's fine, you know. Maybe someday I'll be able to read more, and that would be great, but we're not there right now. So let me tell you about the books that I did read and my thoughts on them. Okay, the first book that I read in April was Home is Where the Bodies Are by Jeneva Rose. Before I get into my review of this, look at this cover. This is the coolest cover. Like, whoever designed this or like was in the marketing team for this, peak, 10 out of 10. Did I intentionally buy this because of this cover? Yes. But also I had read other Jeneva Rose books, so I knew what I was getting myself into. I knew what the woman was capable of. So I did rate this book 4 stars. This book is following 3 siblings, and they're all estranged. Each one kind of went down a very different path in life, but they end up having to come together after their mother dies, and they have to clean out her home. And when they're cleaning her home out, they end up coming across a VHS tape that contains their parents getting rid of a body. And this is also dual timelined because it's showing them when they have found this tape and also from their mother's perspective years prior when all of this activity was going on. So the 90s vibes in this book are everything. It's really, really great. It took me right back to my childhood. And I really, really loved it. It was a good theme. Was this as good as other Jeneva Rose books have been? No, I kind of liked her other ones better, but this one was still worth the read, and 100% worth the cover buy. And also, Jeneva Rose is just one of those authors that I love to support because you can see, if you ever have a chance to go see her on TikTok, go check out her TikTok because you can see how much this woman just loves her job, and I just really love supporting her. So give this one a go if mystery thrillers are a big thing for you, or if you really love 90s vibes, this is a good one. Okay, so the second book that I read in April was American Housewife by Anita Abriel. This book is following Maggie, and she is on a very popular daytime TV where she cooks and she shows other women how to be these really amazing housewives. But in reality, she's married, but she's having marital problems. She doesn't actually know how to cook, but she's supposed to be teaching people how to cook. And there's just a lot of personal turmoil that's kind of going on, but she appears as though she has it all, right? And I was really about it because I thought it would be very reminiscent of the social media age where things may look a certain way, but they're really not. But I'll be honest, I wasn't super invested in the characters, and I just found that I didn't particularly care that much. Like, it was all right. The vibes were there. The New York City vibes were there, but I don't know. I can't really put my finger on it other than just to say it was all right. It was okay. Could I have skipped it? Sure. Could you skip it? Probably. Again, just kind of okay. And the next book that I read was The Griffin Sisters' Greatest Hits by Jennifer Weiner. This book is following 2 sisters who rose to fame very quickly in the early 2000s and were these pop singers that just absolutely, think of Britney Spears or, although it's not the same thing, like the Backstreet Boys or, just those early band vibes. And they ended up breaking up, and nobody knows why they broke up. And they are not really seen or heard from after this. One sister lives very off grid and very remote and just wants to be kind of left to herself. And then the other sister basically lives a suburban mom life. And her daughter ends up wanting to go into the music industry that her mother kind of fled from. And her mother is discouraging her, but her daughter also really wants to get into, well, why did you guys break up to begin with? What happened? And at the same time, kind of chasing her own dreams because she really wants to be a part of the industry that her mother fled from. And like I said, it was really, really well done. I rated this book 4 stars. It was a little long, I'm not gonna lie. I wish that they had cut some of it out. If you really love music books like Daisy Jones and the Six, then this one is a good one to give a try. I'll be honest, does it compare to Daisy Jones? No, but it's still really decent read. Okay, and next I read The Never List by Jade Presley. First of all, this book is stunning. Look at this. Like, how stunning. Look at the inside. That's a beautiful book. And also 100% I grabbed this because I was like, what is that book? That is such a pretty book. And it did not disappoint, by the way. This was my favorite book that I read in April. And this is following a girl named Riley, and she is searching for her sister. And she lives in a world that is pretty strict. You can't cross borders. You have to kind of stay within your city. And it's ruled over by 4 kings and 4 princes. And the princes all have these like magical abilities. And their mothers were goddesses, and they basically have to find a mate. And so they create this choosing ceremony in order to try to find their long-awaited mate. However, she decides to sneak into this, and you are paid pretty handsomely for putting yourself into this choosing ceremony. So she puts herself in, not expecting to hear anything. There are tons and tons of people there. But she ends up catching the eye of one of the princes, and the prince ends up choosing her as the potential mate. And so she ends up having to go to each one of these 4 princes' cities and get to know them. And by the way, she doesn't just need to win the heart of one prince. She has to be with them all, if you know what I mean. And this is a very, very spicy book. So essentially she has to see if she can win the hearts of all of these princes, and if she does, she will be the next queen. However, she is not supposed to be there at all. Like, she technically crossed borders to go to this party. So if they find her out, that is grounds for not just an imprisonment, but potential execution. And the fact that you're playing around with the princes and their hearts, it's not going to fare well if she's found out. I absolutely love this book. It was a really, really great romantasy book. If you love spice, if you love just like the vibes of these beautiful cities, definitely give this one a go. I really thoroughly enjoyed it. And I don't know if I said, but I did rate this 4.5 stars. Just shy of 5, just because I feel like they fell a little bit hard and fast for my taste. I would have liked to have seen kind of a build up to those feelings instead of it being so immediate. I mean, I do understand why the author did that, but I would have preferred it the other way. And also, just look at the pages. If nothing else, look at these pages. It's such a pretty book to read. It really is. And last but not least is The Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins. I have not finished this book. I just kind of started it a few days before the end of April, but I am thoroughly enjoying it so far. Now, what I have found is self-help books in general, I tend to do better with them through an audiobook because they do tend to be, oh God, this chair is so squeaky. Self-help books, although the information in them is usually great, it's the delivery, it's usually kind of repetitive, and this one does kind of ring true to that, just like other ones that I've read this year. The Anxious Generation was very similar to that. But it just basically is a story, not really a story. It's a book that's designed to help you let go of trying to control other people and just worry about controlling yourself and your own feelings and your own emotions. And in the process of letting people do what they're going to do and kind of exit your life if they're going to, or pass over you, or what have you, that inadvertently, it also kind of brings the right people and makes room for the right people to be in your life. And also how to deal with people who maybe aren't the easiest to deal with at times, and how to like just let go of that and stop overly focusing on other people's behavior, which honestly, with everything going on in my life lately, is a really phenomenal book that I cannot wait to keep reading. I can't really rate it yet because again, I started it, I haven't finished it. But I'm going to predict it to be like a 4-star read because the information in it is really, really great. I just wish that self-help books weren't as repetitive as they tend to be. But it's fine. It's fine. And that is all of the books that I read in April. Some of them were pretty decent. Some of them were okay. Hopefully May is going to be a really great reading month. I have a whole bunch of books that I know I just did a haul. I know that. I failed to put into perspective the fact that my birthday's around the corner, and the one thing that everybody pretty much surefire knows what to get me is books. So I once again have a ton of books, new books that I got for my birthday. So another haul will come sometime in the summertime, and I'll just kind of save them until then because I just did a book haul, and if I had been thinking about the fact that it was my birthday, I would have held off, but I didn't. So there's still a ton more books, and maybe I'll have to haul those too. I don't know. We'll see. Once again, thank you guys so much for being here. It really means a lot to me that you have stuck around and listened to some of these reviews. Hopefully you'll find a book that's worth reading on this list. If not, that's okay too. Drop your favorite book that you read in April down below, or in general. I guess it really doesn't have to just be April. But just let me know. What are some decent books that you've read lately? Because if I have them, maybe I'll move them up on my TBR. I hope all of you can enjoy this beautiful weather that is out there, make some time for reading or other things that make you feel the most alive, and have a great day.